And we are back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're just going to take a look back at some of the past blockbuster trades that were made in the offseason. So we'll go through that. So some of them, they did happen before, my lifetime, or at least when I was younger, when I wasn't, watching sports. But so let's go through them. So we'll start at the bottom. 1965. The Reds trade Frank Robinson to the Orioles for Jack Bolstrom, Milt Pappas, and Dick Sampson. So Robinson was a tremendous talent, and he was good in Cincinnati. 303 batting average, 324 home runs over 10 seasons with the club. He was a 1956 NL Rookie of the Year and the 1961 NL MVP. But they traded him. The centerpieces in the return were Robinson was Pappas, two-time All-Star right-hander with a 3.24 ERA in 9 seasons with the Orioles. He only spent 2.5 seasons with Cincinnati, posting a 4.04 ERA in 82 appearances before being traded to the Braves in June of 1968. Robinson went on and did even better with the Orioles. 179 home runs, becoming the first player to win the MVP award in each league by doing so in his first AL season with the Orioles in 1966. And also that year, he also won the Triple Crown and led the Orioles to a World Series championship. So that panned out well for the Orioles. Then 1972, the Expos traded Rusty Staub to the Mets for Tim Foley, Mike Jorgensen, and Ken Singleton. So that was a deal there. Staub was known affectionately as Le Grand Orange and became immensely popular in Montreal after being traded to the Expos by the Astros in 1969. He performed well on the field, hit 78 home runs in 3 seasons in which he was an All-Star. So that was in 1972. 1984, the Expos traded Gary Carter to the Mets for Huey Brooks, Mike Fitzgerald, Herm Winningham, and Floyd Uman. So in 11 seasons with Montreal, Gary Carter was a 7-time All-Star, won 3 Gold Glove Awards, 215 home runs. He also hit .429 with 4 doubles and a pair of home runs in Montreal's run to the NL Championship Series in 1981. Obviously, would go on to play 5 seasons for the Mets, being selected to the NL All-Star team 4 times and finishing 3rd in the NL MVP voting in 1986. And, of course, he was a part of the 1986 World Series team, when the Mets beat the Red Sox. 1999, you had the Blue Jays trading Roger Clemens to the Yankees for David Wells, Homer Bush, and Graham Lloyd. Obviously, Roger Clemens is one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He was coming off of his 2nd consecutive AL Cy Young season with Toronto and 5th overall. Pitched very well with the Yankees. And obviously we had that infamous moment where, he was in, George Steinbrenner's, his box, his suite, and Susan Waldman was going crazy that he came back. So yeah, I mean that ended up working out for the Yankees. Then you had, this is a big one. This starts getting into my lifetime, and that is the Rangers trading Alex Rodriguez to the Yankees for Alfonso Soriano. Now, obviously with this trade, I mean, this was a blockbuster deal. The Yankees didn't win a championship with A-Rod until 2009. Obviously, he won the MVP with them, not in 2009, but he did win MVPs with the Yankees. Alfonso Soriano was a productive player for the Yankees, was a part of that 01 World Series run. Well, they didn't win it, but, he did put them ahead in Game 7, against the Diamondbacks. Yeah, I mean, the Yankees, it was a shocker. And so I did watch a video a while back. It was how Brian Cashman and Alex Rodriguez were talking at some kind of, I think it was some dinner or something. They were sitting near each other. And, because A-Rod was playing shortstop. And, the Red Sox, they were trying to get A-Rod. And A-Rod said he would play third base, to be a Yankee, and that's exactly what the Yankees did. They traded Soriano, they got A-Rod, and A-Rod moved over to third base, and Jeter still played shortstop. That was and yeah, a lot of stuff happened after that. With A-Rod, his off the field stuff, and obviously known for taking up performance enhancing drugs. But the Yankees got a championship out of A-Rod, obviously. But yeah, that was a big deal. Then in 2012, you had the Marlins trading Mark Burley, Jose Reyes, Josh Johnson, Emilio Bonifacio, and John Buck to the Blue Jays for 8 players. Massive deal there. So the Marlins, they traded Burley, Reyes, and 3 other players to Toronto for 8 players. Henderson Alvarez, Anthony DeSclafani, Yunel Escobar, Adani Hechavarria, Jake Marisnick, Jeff Mathis, and Justin Nicolino. Massive trade there. Because Reyes, he signed a contract with them, I believe, a big contract with them. And then the Marlins, they dumped him. They traded Burley. And, none of these players really, turned out to be, life-changing. Some of them had their moments, but nothing really, amounted to anything with this trade. The next one, you had Prince Fielder. This was a big trade in my lifetime, kind of. Prince Fielder getting traded from the Tigers to the Rangers for Ian Kinsler. It was unfortunate because Prince Fielder ended up getting that neck injury, and then he retired, and it was just, I remember watching his press conference, too. It was really sad because that's a guy, a lot of us grew up watching. If you started watching baseball in the 2010s, he's a big part of that, and even earlier than that. Obviously, his days with the Brewers, then the Tigers got him, and, they went on a World Series run, and they almost made it again in 2013. You had him and Miguel Cabrera. That was a really good Tigers team. You had them. Miguel Cabrera was playing third. You had Johnny Peralta, Infante, Iglesias, Austin Jackson, and of course the rotation, and also Delman Young as well. The rotation, Scherzer, Verlander. The fact they didn't ever win a World Series with that team, and that was back when Miguel Cabrera was, prime Miguel Cabrera, when he was the best player in baseball, the best hitter in baseball. And they traded for Ian Kinsler, who, was a productive player. I was actually an All-Star in his first season with Detroit. In 3 seasons with the Tigers, he slashed 286, 332, 443, with 56 home runs, 39 steals. He missed some time in 2017 due to a hamstring injury. Then he was traded to the Angels in the 2017 season. Then the Red Sox got him in 2018, so he won the World Series with them. He was with the Padres for a little bit. Then he retired in 2019. And Prince Fielder, it's just unfortunate. He had to retire at 32, chronic neck injuries. It's unfortunate because, he was a lot of fun to watch. And it was sad when and again, like I said, we were watching his press conference too. It was emotional because he was really emotional in that. But that was a big trade in my lifetime. 2015, yeah, this one was very lopsided. You had the Diamondbacks trading Dansby Swanson, Ender Ciarte, and Aaron Blair to the Braves for Shelby Miller. Now, obviously, Dansby Swanson is no longer with the Braves, but him being, they got a world championship with him, so that trade really didn't work out. So Shelby Miller was an All-Star with the Braves in 2015. He posted a 3.02 ERA in 33 starts, and he looked like he was going to be a good pitcher. And they traded Swanson, who was the first overall pick in the 2015 draft, along with other players. But yeah, it just really did not pan out for the Diamondbacks with Shelby Miller. So then you had the Mets trading Jay Bruce, Anthony Swarzik, Jerson Batista, Justin Dunn, and Jared Kelenic to the Mariners for Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz. The trades worked. Obviously Diaz got hurt last year, but that trade, Diaz was the bigger part of the deal there. And, he had a rough, first couple of seasons with the Mets. But, in 2022, he was the best closer in baseball. It's just unfortunate what happened to him in the World Baseball Classic. Hopefully he's able to bounce back. But, Cano didn't really, he got suspended, had his, very little moments with the Mets. But, Diaz was a big part of the deal. And obviously Jared Kelenic, he was, he didn't really pan out in Seattle. He got traded now. So, and then of course you got the blockbuster the Dodgers and the Red Sox made. Red Sox traded Mookie Betts and David Price and cash to the Dodgers for Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs, Connor Wong. Doesn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense why the Red Sox did that, getting rid of their, best player. And now they don't have Verdugo's now a Yankee. Jeter Downs they got rid of. I mean, there was a bunch of jokes they made about him homering against the Yankees. And I don't believe they have Connor Wong still. But yeah, that trade, it doesn't make any sense to this day. But that's what they decided to do. You also had the Rays trading Blake Snell to the Padres for Luis Patino, Cole Wilcox, Blake Hunt, and Francisco Mejia. The Rays just make these kinds of moves. And, they're trying to trade some of their pitchers now. Glass now obviously is on the trade block. So, that was another deal that happened. Now Snell's a free agent, so we'll see, where he ends up. He's another free agent to keep an eye on. Cubs, they traded Yu Darvish and Victor Caratini, who also actually he signed with the Astros recently. To the Padres, they traded him for Owen Casey, Ismail Mena, Reginald Preciado, Yason Santana, and Zach Davies. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce these names. Now I really haven't heard any of these players other than Zach Davies. And Yu Darvish is still pitching for the Padres. So, that was a big trade. Then you also got the Lindor trade. That was for, the Guardians traded him and Carlos Carrasco to the Mets for Ahmed Rosario, Andres Jimenez, Josh Wolf, and Isaiah Green. Rosario hasn't been that bad for the Guardians. Jimenez hasn't been bad either. He's been a productive player for them. Lindor had his best season, for the Mets in 2023. But Carrasco, he hasn't been that good. So then you got a couple more. One of them's a Soto trade, and then of course you have the Nolan Arenado trade to the Cardinals in 2021 for Austin Gomber, Lee Uris Montero, Tony Losey, Mateo Heel, and Jake Summers. And the Rockies signed Arenado to an 8-year extension in 2019, but then they just went and traded him to the Cardinals. And he's been productive with the Cardinals since, he got traded there. So there's that. And then, of course, they have the Soto trade, obviously, is the most recent one, which was Juan Soto and Trent Grisham to the Yankees for Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and Kyle Higashioka. So, those are the big trades. Obviously, some of them happened way before I was born, so I'm not really too familiar with it. But, some of them, like the Prince Fielder trade, and the Ian Kinsler swap, the Mookie Betts trade, the Arenado trades, those are, my lifetime, of course. But that is all the time that we have for today. I thank you guys for watching. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Ohtani and see if he makes a decision. But I thank you guys for sticking with me. If you watched both episodes, I appreciate it. We'll be back again on Monday. So until then, I'm Kenneth Grunfeld once again signing off from the GSMC Baseball Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day. Enjoy all the NFL games this weekend. Enjoy your weekend in general, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.